For all you Groundhoppers out there, this podcast is for you. This is the FANA Fan Podcast, and I'm Topliss, and for all you Groundhoppers out there, this podcast is for you. And tonight, we're joined by the man behind Yeltz Twitter account and long-term Halesowen fan, Tim. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on, and then thank you to the club for having me last weekend. It's just a shame that, unfortunately, my record watching Chase Town is still 100%.
Right, yeah. Unfortunately, it's gone. Yeah, I wish it went down a little bit last week, but no. I can see why it stayed at 100%.
Oh, just a shame, really. But yeah, they are a good team, Chase Town, aren't they? But I mean, the fan base that Halesowen really blew me away last week. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got a growing fan base, which is brilliant. We're gaining fans week on week, really. It was a bumper crowd for us because it was top of the table clash. 1,700 were there, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game didn't. It was a bit tentative. We were reflecting on it last week, really, about how the game went. It was quite. Yeah, I was expecting a bit more sort of end to end. But I think, given what was at stake, I think both sides were kind of sanding each other out a bit. And so, yeah, there wasn't much goal mouth action, unfortunately. And it was unfortunately Chase Town who got the win in the end. They kind of sneaked 2 goals at the end. But to be fair, I think they deserved it. And just a shame that, when you get that many people through the gate, you want the result, you want to see goals. So, really disappointing from our perspective. But credit to Chase Town as well.
Oh, I was ready to go crazy in that shed end.
I know. Yeah, that's what you want. Pack shed end. You want a goal. That's what you want to see. But it wasn't to be, unfortunately.
Maybe next time. So, Tim Bullock from Halesowen. What's your background in football? How did it all start with you?
Well, yeah, I mean, my background in football is very much just a fan, basically. I mean, I can't lay claim to have played football at any sort of level. I've followed Halesowen for 30 years, so I have actually just really kind of got behind Halesowen. Not many people know this about me, and I shouldn't disclose it, but I used to be a Tottenham fan when I was little. So for many years I wore a Tottenham Hotspur football shirt, and then just kind of went down to watch Halesowen on the weekends when, well, obviously I didn't get to see Tottenham very often, but I kind of took up following Halesowen. But I suppose over time, it was the balance tipped in favour of Halesowen, really, and I'd say for the last 20 odd years, they've been my only team, really, and so just watched them all through that time, really, pretty much. Had season ticket for as long as I can remember now, and just love it down there. It's brilliant.
Yeah, there is nothing like supporting your local football team. Sure.
Yeah, well, I take it to the next level, don't I? Really, I suppose. Yeah, I do follow my local team, but you can't get much local than your own hometown, I suppose. So I do take that to the next level, definitely.
Absolutely not. And with a ground, I have to say personally, one of my favourite grounds I've been to, Halesowen as well. It's one of the Mike Bailey 100 grounds to visit the UK. It's in that book.
It is, yeah.
Straight away when I was on 199, I'm like, looking at that book, Halesowen, they're playing Chase Town top 2. I've got to go to that game. That sold it for me, and it's very unique. Halesowen's ground, like I mentioned on the blog, it's one of its own kind. I've not seen or know of any club, any level of the terracing steps like that with the crash barriers, like along 2 sides, and obviously the shed end at a height as well. Which I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, so I think there's a bit of a story behind that, really, and I suppose I think it goes back to the sort of 80s, really, when Halesowen were obviously like at that time, early 80s, were quite just in the sort of Midland leagues, but we had an incredibly good side throughout the 80s. Unfortunately, just slightly before I started following them, but we had a great run in the Vars. So we went to Wembley 3 times in the 80s, won the Vars twice, and I think at the time, the ground was quite rudimentary. The shed was a shed. I think that's probably pretty much where it got its name from. And then, obviously we've got the stand on the one side, but I think the ground in the 80s was famed because it had a really strong slope. And so a lot of work was done in the 80s, probably on the back of some of the cash that we got from those cup runs and those Wembley visits to flatten the pitch and level it. And so the shed is almost like raised behind the goal, and it's almost like sits above the goal really, which is quite unique in non-league. I mean, normally you're sort of ground level, aren't you? But in the shed end that we've got, we're up above the pitch, and that's what makes it unique really. You're kind of in line with the crossbar when you stood behind the goal. And it's fantastic. I mean, the atmosphere in that shed end is amazing. Everyone that kind of knows that's that's where the noise is in the ground. And unfortunately against Chasetown, I mean, it's frustrating that they actually turned us around. So what we obviously try and like to do is shoot into the shed second half, and obviously kind of that atmosphere builds second half, and late on in the game that can really make a difference with all those people behind the goal, like right above the goal as well. I think teams unfortunately do try and turn us around, and Chasetown did that last week. So we were shooting into the shed first half. But having said that, I think there's been a few games this season where I know Stamford, who are a very good side, they did the same. They switched us around, put us into shooting into the shed end first half, and I think we went into a 3-0 lead pretty early doors and closed the game off as a result. So it's a really unique ground, and I think that's kind of partly why, because of the history. But it's credit to the people who look after it as well. The owners of the club are fantastic. Absolutely, I can't speak highly enough of the people who are charged of the club at the moment, and also all the kind of volunteers that we've got. We've got a great set of people who take good care of the ground as well. So even if just like if it's a lick of paint, or whether it's something slightly more kind of substantial, like some of the bars had an extension this year, or even though it's it still needs going further. But little things around the ground that have popped up, like the program shed and bits like that, that just kind of add to the kind of the uniqueness of the ground. Really, that's all kind of been done through volunteers as well, and it's just fantastic. I absolutely love it. And if you did ask me what which are my favourite football grounds, then it would be one of them. I mean, like, I don't envy anyone else's football ground. It's certainly not at our level of football. We've got an absolutely brilliant ground, and it can hold a lot of people as well, which is great, because the crowds are growing and the atmosphere is building, and fortunately we've got the kind of resource to do it where we're at the moment, really.
Yeah, but I've always thought that myself when I go to all these grounds. If your club's got a nice ground, it's going to attract more people. More rather than one that hasn't got a nice ground. It will, because you've got something nice to look at as well as the game, if the game's bad in many ways. But the bar was really nice. The refreshment stand was in a good area. That's the stewards, I thought, were friendly as well. I mean, I was speaking to a steward before the game who was really quite friendly. And obviously you got the Yeltz bar across the road. Yeah,
it's all good really, and like particularly in that one corner, it seems to build. Like, people do come, and particularly if you're coming, from watching your professional team, the idea of getting a beer and standing on the terrace is quite unique really, and that's what one of the selling points in non-league, I guess. But the ground's fantastic. But I would say now we're at the point where I think, and it showed last week, we probably do need the bar extending, and I think there are plans to do that. But that just goes to show like the speed of growth of the club. I mean, we've had, unfortunately, 3 years at step 4 now, where we're probably got to be really careful what I say, because this could embarrass me, but we are a bit too big for our boots in step 4. We're attracting, I mean, if you can get 1,700 people down, I mean, those sorts of crowds are huge. And I think, to be fair, obviously it was a big game, but overall we're close to averaging 1,000 people in the league this season, and that's without many teams bringing away fans down. Like I said, it's step 4. So we probably need to be getting ourselves up the pyramid and getting ourselves up to a higher level. But I think there is a bit of work planned to extend out the bar, hopefully. But I think that's one of the only things that you're looking at going, gosh, if we do step up the leagues, that's what needs to happen. So no, it's but that said, the grounds the ground's great. You know, we get 1,700 people in, and you know, there's plenty of room on the terraces with the raised terraces as well. You've always got a viewpoint, which is great as well. So it's capable of holding much more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Halesowen, like, what do you think of non-league clubs? You're just naming places. Like Halesowen, I'd heard of before I'd visited, before I'd even seen the. I'd heard of Halesowen. I've always, obviously, when I did my research before I did my write-up, I understand that.
Yeah.
I think the highest point was what we now know as the National League North at one point. They've not been higher than that, have they?
No, we've never been conference. Like I said, we kind of came up through the Midland Leagues in the 80s, and we had a really good team in the 90s. So when it was the conference, and I think there was 3 leagues below that, we had a particularly good year. I think it was like 97, 98. I think that was our best year. Somewhere, maybe one of the years before that. But anyway, we finished second in that league, and we got 90 points. But the team above us got 92. So that was Rushton and Diamonds. And they were very well backed at the time. So yeah, and it was obviously one promotion space, and that was it. So you know, if you finished second, that was it. You didn't get the playoffs or any other second chance. So yeah, to get 90 points and not get promoted was a bit of a wounder really for us. And yeah, I'd say that was we were at our strongest point. We certainly late 90s, we had a fantastic team. We were competitive in that at that high, you know, at that level for years. I mean, some really big clubs. I mean, Cheltenham were in that level. I mean, Worcester were I mean, obviously they've dropped down a bit now, but they were obviously a big team locally as well. Bromsgrove, again, you know, when they were Bromsgrove Rovers. And these were all massive games. So yeah, I mean, after that, I think we did drop down, and we've kind of like found our level. Sort of step 3, I suppose, is probably where we've kind of settled over the years. But yeah, just difficult times for the club. I mean, we have had some absolutely awful times, to the point that the club didn't look like it was going to survive. Some really poor ownership, and unfortunately, we were one of these clubs that got really badly mismanaged. But yeah, I mean, and to be honest, I mean, that's probably been like the case for pretty much the last 20 years, really. We've really struggled to kind of just kind of survive, I suppose. But we've had an absolute fantastic turn of luck, really, because the club was bought by a couple of people, Keith McKenna and Karen Brooks, a couple of years back, and they've transformed the club. I mean, Karen's the daughter of Colin Brooks, who is hugely well known locally, you know, club president, Mr. Halesowen Town, and you know, absolute legend of National League, let alone Halesowen. So we knew that kind of Karen was going to, you know, look after the club and had the right interests. But also Keith's come in as well. And Keith used to play for Halesowen a long time ago. Hopefully not that long ago, in case he watches this. But yeah, he was late 90s. He played for Halesowen. And yeah, he'd been involved with the club at sort of different levels as well. But since Karen and Keith came in, they've just been absolutely phenomenal. You know, in terms of how they've run the club, how they've kind of, you know, I mean, they have invested in the club, you know, which is absolutely wonderful as well. Things like new dressing rooms, new pitch, just really trying to, you know, not just kind of just pile loads of money into player wages to try and get us promoted, but actually try and build a sustainable club and try and get us to a higher level. And they brought in a manager called Paul Smith, and Paul has absolutely transformed the club as well, the ethos of the club. You know, full credit to him for what he's done in his time at the club as well. And you know, we've been really lucky to have that structure behind the scenes. And that's it, really. I mean, we've really kind of just become buoyant in the last few years, and I think we've gone probably, I mean, if you cast your mind back to probably 3 seasons ago from now, we were on the verge of getting relegated. We did actually go down from step 3 to step 4. And we were probably getting about 400 or 500 through the gate. So, you know, in those 3 years, and given everything that's happened in the meantime, we've doubled attendances, and that's all down to kind of what's been going on the pitch, but also behind the scenes as well, in terms of what's been delivered, you know, around the club as well. So no, very happy times at the Halesowen at the moment.
And the spirits are definitely rising. So, 30 years of Halesowen Town. Any what are your best? Yeah. What are your best memories? What memories stick out when you think over the past 30 years of Halesowen Town?
I mean, those late 90s were absolutely phenomenal, and I was, you know, very young fan at that point in time. And, I just loved the kind of the feel for Halesowen. There's always been a really good spirit, good atmosphere. Just fans with their heart in the right place who actually, it's good fun. We've always had a good sing song. There's always been all kind of quirky, funny songs that the fans sing. And that's always quite amusing and appealing, and that makes it a bit of a fun place to go and watch football. So yeah, certainly late 90s were a good era. We had some fantastic players around that time. But to be truthful, I mean, the highlight for me over those 30 years was, just a couple of seasons ago, we had a run in the FA Trophy. It was quite incredible, really. So Halesowen obviously step 4, so trophies like step 1 to 4, so going up to the conference, and obviously being step 4, you start right at the beginning. So we kind of played a preliminary round at Halesowen Town. I think it's probably sort of back end of August, and won, which was great. And so we're kind of like on this trophy run, but we had the most unbelievable run from then onwards. So we beat I can't remember the order exactly, but I think we beat Evesham, we beat Stamford, we beat Grantham. I'll probably miss one out there as well. And then we kind of went on, but at that point we were kind of like getting a bit of pace to this cup run, and we were getting very excited by it. But then we started tackling some teams at higher level then. So we had Gateshead come to the Grove, we beat them 1-0. And they were they're having a great season at the moment, but they were step 2, so that was a big shock at the time, and we made the front of the non-league paper. Then we went on to beat Bradford Park Avenue, step 2 side, so we beat them on a replay. Then, so I think we were sort of in the last 32 by this point. I can't quite remember. We played Maidenhead, so we drew at home to Maidenhead and went away to Maidenhead on a Tuesday night, and they were in the conference, step 1. And we beat them 3-1 away from home. So that was amazing again. So we were like, right, okay, another one. And then we went to Halifax in the last 16. That was so we went there. They were like at the top of I think they were about 5th in step 1 at that point in time. So we were major underdogs. We beat them as well. So we won 1-0 at Halifax. And by this point we were in the last 8. So incredible. So we've beaten Maidenhead and we've beaten Halifax. Quarterfinals. So we went to Barnet, and you were expecting me to go, oh, this is where it all went wrong. So we went 1-0 down at Barnet. Again, like this is like mid-February. Barnet. It was a horrible pitch. I mean, the game didn't seem like it was going to be on. But anyway, we were 1-0 down to Barnet, and it kind of felt like it wasn't going to happen for us that day. But anyway, we scored in the last 10 minutes. Robbie Bunn put a cross in the box, sort of bobbled its way through everyone and ended up in the corner, and that made it 1-1. And then went into extra time, and we actually snuck a winner with about 10 minutes to go. So we beat Barnet away from home as well. So we're into the last 4 of the FA Trophy, and my word, we were like so confident. So
what were you thinking at the time? Semi-final. What were you thinking? What's going through your head?
Thinking like, this is absolutely unbelievable. So to go from sort of playing preliminary rounds. I mean, we had a lot of replays along the way as well. So I think we counted it out the other night. I think we played about 14 games in this cup run, and in the FA Trophy, which in a knockout tournament is just absolutely unreal. So I think we beat about 8 or 9 teams we beat on the way, and obviously everyone was getting progressively tougher. So we won away at Barnet, and this was the last day. It was 29th of Feb 2020. Got into the semi-finals, and there was Notts County, Harrogate, and Concord Rangers left in, and we got Concord in the semi-final. So we were the home leg. First of all, it was due for mid-March. We sold 3,200 tickets, maximum capacity, ready for this semi-final, and it never happened because of COVID.
I knew that. As soon as you said mid-March, you got the end of the mouth. But oh no!
So
no!
So the biggest game because we've been playing away quite a lot. So to get back at the Grove, we had all the tickets were sold, like absolutely, the club had sold out in no time. People were queuing around the block to get the tickets. 3,000 tickets we sold at home, and so the game got postponed, we sat around waiting for a long time, not really knowing what was going to happen. And yeah, unfortunately, I guess I can't really remember the timings of it all now, because obviously there was a long period of time where there was no football at all. But what happened in the end was they somehow agreed. I can't even remember the rationale behind it, but they decided to play the game as a one-off, and it went to Concord. And I guess it was probably just a kind of a coin flip or something, but it was at Concord, and it was behind closed doors as well, so we couldn't even go down and watch. And so, well, I say that we couldn't watch. We ended up like watching it on big screens back at Halesowen. Yeah, unfortunately, we lost the game, and I mean, it was tough because we'd lost so much momentum. The players hadn't played in that sort of time, so I think we all kind of felt like had it have continued, and we'd have the cup run would have, or the trophy run would have continued. I mean, we were so confident going in, before that semi-final. I mean, Concord was step 2, and we'd already beaten 3 teams at step 1. The players were just, incredible. They were just unreal throughout that run, and it was just such a big disappointment in the end, because we were one tie away from Wembley, and I think we had all our hearts set on it. So yeah, just devastating really that the pandemic would hit when it hit, and we never got that opportunity. So best times, and yet unfortunately very cruel times as well. But just incredible. So I mean, we took I think it's about eight supporter coaches to Barnet, and on a wet and horrible day in February, where actually there was a bit of doubt whether the game would go ahead, because Barnet's pitch was such a pudding. So we didn't really know if it would happen or not. And yet we took all those supporters down. I mean, and the scenes behind the goal when we did score was just unbelievable. I mean, that for me was just it. I think when you do it, when those games go your way, it doesn't get any better than that. That was just absolute peak Halesowen. It's just not what you expect. It's like we likened it to like a League Two team going to knocking out 3 Premier League teams. It's just unreal. So we were just punching above our weight all the way through that run, but it was incredible. And we were doing well in the league as well, which is the other killer as well. So we were on points per game. We were actually second, but points per game we were actually top. And the played 30 games of a 38 game season, and the FA or the Southern League decided, no, actually we're just going to null and void it, start again next season. So so we had two seasons that just didn't, because obviously the next season same happened again. So this is actually our 3rd season at step 4, and we've just been waiting to get back up into step 3 for ever since we went back down, really. So quite frustrating, but having said that, the club's grown massively in that time, and the momentum has built and built and built, and that's just been fantastic for the club, and the stature and the profile of us locally as well, which is great.
And it feels like a genuine belief as well that one day it will happen. But do you think it'll be this season after the Chase Down? I mean, you won yesterday, didn't you? Was it convincing? We won yesterday.
6-1 away from home yesterday. So fantastic way to bounce back. It's really tight at the top, and I think it's partly down to the fact that again, we've had last 2 seasons have been null and void. I think there's almost like a backlog of teams that are playing at step 4 that probably should be playing at step 3. So we're up against Ilkeston and Chase Town. We're pretty much the 3 teams that can still win the league. We need Ilkeston to drop points in 2 of the last 5 games now. I don't think that's going to happen, so we can't really get promoted automatically. A lot of people do think Chase Town will win the league. Ilkeston got really lucky yesterday. They only scored in the last minute against 10-man Yaxley. So they scraped a win very late on. But I suppose that's kind of what you do when you're kind of destined to win a league. So Ilkeston and Chase Town are probably going to battle it out for the title, I suspect. Mainly down to that result last week, really, where we lost out against Chase Town. But it's going to be playoffs, and to be fair, we're either going to have Ilkeston and Chase Town in there. We're guaranteed a spot now, if assuming we go through that route, and then Stamford, the team that are absolutely flying at the moment, and they're in 4th place, and then it's probably going to be Belper, the last one. So 4 really, really strong non-league teams who all probably belong at a higher level So yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. We've got 5 games left now of the league season just to kind of get some momentum back. But that win yesterday was really good, really positive, because actually, 6-1 away from home, score some goals, really make a big difference in the goal difference, which could actually come into play. Let's hope so. But I suspect it will be playoffs if we do go up now. Yeah.
And a much needed response as well. You have to say as well from last week's result. But playoffs are the 2 legs.
No, so it's 1 leg. Yeah, so it's quite brutal actually. The playoffs. The season finishes on a Saturday, and then the Tuesday night straight after is your semi-final, and it's 1 leg, and it's played at the ground of the team that finishes higher. But what tends to happen is, like I said, Ilkeston Chase aren't going to go head to head to the league, and it might go down to last day. It probably will, I imagine. But that one of those teams is going to miss out on automatic promotion, and then having to play straight on the back of it a playoff against a team that might be, might not, they might be 20 points off the pace, but they'll still go there with every chance of trying to cause an upset. So yeah, that it's brutal. It's you finish the league on Saturday, playoff Tuesday, and then if playoff final the following Saturday, and that's it. All done over 1 leg, which is which can go anyway, couldn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's all. But playoffs are down to who's in the best form, isn't it, at the time. So, like I say, if Stanford are as good as, like you say, they've been last couple of weeks, it could be them if they carry on. You know what I mean? It's one of them, but
I think Stanford are certainly. Yeah, I think the other thing is get everyone to have a week where I don't know whether they have to play the semi-finals in a midweek. I think it's all to do with player wages. There is a reason for it. I think basically if they manage to cut the season a little bit shorter, then I think it cuts back on player wages. I don't know why that would be so important. I think it's better to probably play the playoffs. Either give them a week, give the teams a week to recover and rest and go again, and then playing on the Saturdays, or like you said, over 2 legs would seem to be a better solution as well. But yeah, just brutal. And then teams can sneak into the playoffs on the last day, and often they're the ones that go on and win the next 2 games and go up over the expense of, like I said, somebody might have finished 20 points ahead of them. But yeah, that's the playoffs, isn't it? Really, that's how it can go.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. So one big game we've mentioned is the Chase Town home game. Another big game I want to mention to you was the big Ilkeston Town game a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you were there. Tell me all about it. What was it like? 2,400, nearly just under 2.5k there. My mate Joe from Match Days there. Will Burp there.
So we had all the big guns out. It was. Do you know what? It was very different to the Chase Town game. It was a lot more end to end. And the way the game panned out was fascinating, really. Halesowen were 1-0 down. There was a little bit of added spice because Ilkeston had just signed a guy called Montel Gibson who had been playing he was part of our trophy run actually. So he was a Halesowen player. He went to Grimsby. After that, he went when they were in League Two. So he kind of jumped up the pyramid. But he's ended up. He was back at Stourbridge. Then he moved to Ilkeston the week of this game as well. So it was very very dramatic in the sense that just another thing to add to the complexity of this league. And like I said, they went 1-0 up, and Halesowen played okay first half. It was quite an even game. We managed to get our way back into it. Second half, there were loads of quite a lot of injuries, and we had to make quite a few changes. So we got back into it 1-1. Then we had a man sent off, and then we went 2-1 down straight away. And again, it was like, oh, great, okay, right. We got back into it, and then it was like your hearts are breaking. But I don't know how we did it. It was just unreal. Like we with 10 men, we really took the game to them in the last 5-10 minutes, and And we snuck an equaliser, and people said like we won. It felt like we won 2-2. But we came out the ground like absolutely buzzing. It was such an important result as well, and to have that level of fight in the team, it was awesome. That's one of the things. I mean, that frustrates really. I think had that sort of game played out at the Grove when we had Chase down, I think it would have been such a better, such better entertainment really. So we were very, very different to the game that you saw, unfortunately. But it was an absolute zinging game of football. And the crowd was brilliant as well. Ilkeston are obviously very, very ambitious. They've got a chairman who seems very, very, what should we say? He's certainly putting his money in his pocket, or his hands in his pocket. Yeah. I mean, they're spending money. I mean, they are paying, getting a lot of players in, and they want to get up to step 3 and probably higher still. So, it was a really good match. Two really good non-league teams basically, and good spectacle as well.
But again, Ilkeston are another club that I think they have been as high as the conference years and years ago, and they have got a good fan base as well. I have to say. But I will say it too, they were not as good as Halesowen. That's one thing I will say. They were a good fan base, though. I really did like them when I went there. But yeah, again, I mean, from looking at the league, you're probably looking like Ilkeston's league. They're still losing, I say, at the moment.
They've had a wobble the last few weeks, but then unfortunately it did coincide with Halesowen dropping a few points as well, and Chase Town lost the game. They lost to Stamford at home as well. So we've all had a wobble. So it wasn't like we were all 100% records to finish the season, but they've got what feels like quite an easy run in. They've got 5 games that are all very winnable for them. But that said, I mean, I would have bet my mortgage on the fact that they would would have beaten Yaxley easily on the weekend, and they only to score a last minute winner. I mean, very fortunate, but we're at that point of the season now where we're running out of games, and as long as they keep sneaking these wins, doesn't matter if it's 1-0 or 10-0, does it really? They're going to get promoted if they can just do the job in these last few games. So I do think that they would be my bet for the title. Like I said, a lot of people do think Chase Town, but at the end of the day, it all just comes down to Ilkeston really, and how well they do. So it could be out of their hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on your travels over the last 30 years, obviously we'd like to talk about some of the grounds. We've mentioned Halesowen grounds. Are any of the grounds you've been to away with Halesowen or with Tottenham, if you don't mind sharing, that you really like?
So I haven't been to many with Tottenham, I'll be honest. I went to watch them at Villa Park a few times. Mostly Halesowen, and I mean, I'm quite fortunate. Well, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but we because we're central, we've played in the Northern League, we've played in the Southern League, we've played, we've gone everywhere. We've gone off to like Merthyr Tydfil and teams over that side. We played Truro, we played Dover, we played like Lowestoft not so long ago, and then up sort of like Blythe, Workington, Spennymoor, Darlington. We've played everywhere, because of where we're located, we have been switched around quite a few times, to different sort of leagues. But I really like the Northern League. To be fair, there are for lots of different reasons. Really, I mean the standard I would say is actually better, in terms of football. So if you're looking at it sort of just economically, you'd rather be in the Southern League because I think it's a little bit easier. But Northern League, there's some absolutely fantastic non-league clubs, and they're all just like fantastic clubs, beautiful settings, like nice little towns with pubs next to the ground that you can go to. There's some absolute beauties really. I think my favourite over the years, I've got a real soft spot for Marine, and I think that's probably my favourite non-league ground. Just a really, really quirky, awesome ground. It's Liverpool. I mean, obviously a lot of people know Marine because they play Tottenham in the cup, and they've got this really weird. I mean, it is a weird ground in a way, I suppose, but they've kind of got the main stand, which is sat behind the goal, which in itself is unusual. And then they've got a very, very thin slitherer down the one side where you can kind of walk down and there's sort of terracing. And then on the other side, you can't. There's no stand at all. It's just the terrace houses at the back. And when they play Tottenham in the FA Cup, they've got people stood in their back gardens watching the game, the other side of the fence. It's just a real unique ground. And it's another one that obviously is in Mike Bailey's book. I mean, I've got Mike Bailey's book. It's an absolute Bible of non-league, well, of ground hopping, isn't it? So, that's one of my favourites. I do like Belper as well. Belper's quite a nice one. We won the league there when we came up from Step 4 before. I think that was 2014. But yeah, Belper's a great ground, and a lot of those sort of Derbyshire grounds. I've never been to Matlock. I know Matlock's meant to be amazing. I really want to do that.
I have been.
Yeah,
and
we've played them a few times, and I just haven't been able to go. But that's on the list.
Absolutely beautiful ground, Matlock. You won't be surprised to see the mark I gave that one. But no. I've still not beat the Belper. That's one that is close by. I still need, but again, I'm saving it for the summer. I don't know if I'll get it this season, but
16th of April, Halesowen are going. So there's an opportunity there. It's a lovely ground. It flooded recently, actually, which is a real shame. And I know that they are investing in the ground, but yeah, just a real great location. There was a pub not on the high street that Halesowen fans kind of took over a little bit when we went there, because obviously we needed a win to become champions and go up. So Halesowen a great away following, but yeah, just an awesome ground. Love it. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's another one of those picturesque ones. I think it was voted like 5th most picturesque ground in the UK at one point. I might be wrong, but yeah, it's definitely in the top 10, shall we say?
Yeah.
And Marine as well. You beat me to it there, because obviously with the Tottenham affiliation, I was going to ask you what was it like seeing them play there, but that's another one I still need to get to. Marine.
Yeah, definitely recommend Marine. And the other thing to say about Marine is like the unsurprisingly, it's Liverpool. It's a footballing city. Like the people up there are just fantastic. They're all proper non-league people. Great atmosphere, really welcoming. I mean, Halesowen went there. We actually won 3-0 the one time that I went, and just a great atmosphere all round. People, really kind of nice, nice people who look after that club as well.
No, they are a friendly bunch, the Scousers, aren't they? Definitely.
Yeah.
So we've had the best. What about the worst, if there is any?
Oh, good question.
But again, you can. Whoever the rivals are, you can stick them in there if you want to. I don't mind.
Oh well, I don't. Well, our rivals are Stourbridge, and I don't. I mean, Stourbridge ground. Everyone raves about Stourbridge. It's got 3 sides. Just have to mention that. They play at a cricket ground. Yeah. I don't get it myself. I don't really like going there. But having said that, it's another one of Mike's selections.
It is, yeah.
And whenever there's like a top 10 non-league grounds you have to see before you die, Stourbridge is quite often in there, and it's not my choice, but then again, they're our rivals, so I probably would say that. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, I'll give you a couple that I'm not really a big fan of. So, I really don't like Banbury. I've been to Banbury a few times. Banbury's an absolute minging ground. I just something about it. I don't like it at all. I haven't been there in I would say about 10 years, really, to be fair. I know they're having a great season. They're about to go up to Step 2, which is fantastic. Good for them. But no, not a fan of the ground. Another one that's a real shocker is Grantham as well.
We get that quite a lot. Mate.
Grantham. But to be brutally honest, it's a bit of a mix with Grantham, because it's an athletic stadium, it's an athletics track, and that in itself isn't great. But just a bit of a weird bunch, really. I'll be quite honest with you. I remember rocking up once on the supporters coach, and I hadn't got much cash on me. And I said to the fellow on the thing, I said, "Well, where's the cash point? Where's the nearest cash point?" And he just was like, No, we don't have like I'd ask for something like absolutely futuristic, like no, we don't have cash point. And then I said to him, "Well, where's like the town? Like, where am I walking to?" He went, no, I don't know. There's no town around here. I was like, all right, okay, forget it. So anyway, yeah, I had to kind of scrimp my way through the day, unfortunately. But yeah, just a bit of a strange old place. One of my worst experiences was with Halesowen was I ended up going to Barrow, and this is going back a long time. Barrow were at our sort of level, like Northern League or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
We played there in the trophy, and it was like a 9 o'clock coach leaves kind of job. And yeah, you kind of fly up the M6 and then you turn left and start heading out through the Lake District. And obviously it's really picturesque. Oh, this is nice. This is a nice journey or whatever. And then you get to Barrow, and then yeah, it all goes horribly wrong from there onwards. So yeah, it was absolutely freezing. It's just oh god, you couldn't be more exposed at that ground. And yeah, I remember like my hands were shivering. We played that. It was an FA Trophy game, and yeah, just to kind of just absolutely flatten me, we lost in the last minute. So just when you thought we're going to bring him back for a replay, so no, I don't have fond memories of Barrow as well. And obviously they're football league.
Is it right on like the sea front? Is it really windy?
It just felt.
Just a cold ground.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I think it probably was a wintry game anyway. But yeah, just yeah. Like wind chill factor took it down to about, it felt like -25. I had frostbite on all my toes, I think. But yeah, just a really bizarre place. But no, considering we lost in the last minute as well, it was just like, get me out of here. And of course, it's a long journey home as well. So no, but I mean, I have to say, like when I was thinking about some of the worst grounds, like at the moment, I mean, there is unfortunately a scourge of the non-league game at the moment, and that is the plastic pitch, unfortunately. And I don't know if you've been to many games that are played on these 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G pitches. Yeah,
plenty.
I don't know. It just happened that I was thinking like earlier about like which grounds don't I like, and as I was making this sort of like in my head, I was thinking these are all plastic pitches now. So I mean, yeah, there's that. I mean, like I've written some. I mean, Rushall, Redditch, Barwell, Bedworth, Coleshill, Sutton. I don't like any of those grounds, and they're all plastic pitches. And yeah, I don't know if it's coincidental. Yeah, I have to say, Halesowen have had a few problems this season as a result of playing on plastic pitches. We've obviously got a fantastic flat, snooker table kind of bays to play on. Yeah, we're lucky to have a beautiful grass pitch, but the going to these grounds where it's all artificial. We've suffered some really bad injuries. We've had 2 players go down with ACL injuries as a result of these plastic pitches. Ilkeston, we lost a couple of players. People, I mean, that Montel Gibson actually injured himself that game as well. And I suppose if you've got a 3G pitch, you're going to argue, well, it's not that just these things could happen, but it's a trend, unfortunately, in the game. Like we're seeing so many players, knacker their knees and their ankles on these pitches. It's pretty bad, really. And both the players we lost a player called Jack Redhead. He got injured at Calcer early on in the season, really bad ACL. He hasn't played since. And also we had a striker called Harry White. He got injured at Sutton again. That was a season-ending injury for him, and they were just off the ball. Like they're again, not an impact injury, just a twist on the pit, back landing on the pitch. So now I'm really getting a bit frustrated with the amount of teams that are ripping up their grass pitches and laying down these fake carpets, because I just think they're not great to watch football on for a start, but I just think that the risk to the players is getting a bit silly now. Yeah, and they're taking over as well. I mean, there's probably about 6 or 7 in Halesowen's level who've got these sorts of pitches, and they're just not happy with them at all. Don't like them at one bit.
I'm going to ask you now, don't you?
Go on.
What if Halesowen went plastic?
I don't think we would, to be fair. I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I can fully understand why clubs do it, and when finances are so hard for non-league teams, if you can switch to a plastic pitch, in theory you could play on it 24/7, couldn't you, and have like youth teams and all sorts of local community teams playing on it throughout the week. they're money spinners, aren't they? I suppose at the end of the day, and you can see it like Sutton. I mean, Ilkeston have said that they use it for the community as well. They're another club that have only just made that, that tore up the grass last season and switched over. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, like I really hope that Halesowen don't do it, but yeah, and I don't think they will, but it would hurt me if they did, definitely.
Fair dues, Mike. Fair dues. So we've had the best of. Pardon?
Go on. No, carry on. I was going to say, you got some news for me, have you? This just in.
No, so yeah. No, so we've had the best and worst grounds. So the next one, and again, you can be biased as you like on this one. I don't mind, because I'll agree with you if you say it. But who are the best fans you've witnessed on your travels?
Good question.
Can't say you're wrong. I wouldn't blame you.
Oh, we have got that. It's definitely Alzo. I mean, we have got an absolutely awesome fan base. Like the people involved in the club are just brilliant, really. I'll tell you, I'll give a shout out to this season who set of fans who I think are absolutely fantastic, and that's Carlton Town. Yeah. I just that not being disrespectful. They're not as a club and as a set of fans. They're not as numerous as we are as Halesowen. But they came to Halesowen and there was a little collective of them, and they were in such good spirits. They were so friendly. They bought flags. They got behind their team, and that's what you need, like, to start the ball rolling. So if you've got a little collective of fans who get on well, and they follow their team in the right spirit. They come and chat to the home team. That's what you need to kind of get things going. So, if I was a Carlton fan and I went to watch Carlton at Halesowen, and you can see everyone singing and being friendly and getting on with the home supporters and just having a good time and just getting behind the team. And to be fair, they played brilliantly at Halesowen. They're absolutely brilliant. We snuck a draw out of that game, but they deserve to win it, to be fair to them. But yeah, you just kind of get a sense that there's something building. I noticed that Spalding, who haven't had a great season, I thought they'd probably be a bit higher up than they are. But they just seem to have a little set of fans as well who go follow them everywhere and get behind the team. And that's you kind of just notice, like, the clubs that have got little close knit groups of supporters who get behind their teams, really. So yeah, there's a few this season actually that I thought, yeah, fair play to you. You're really doing the right things for your club and doing what I do on. I mean, obviously I've got a Twitter account, and it's quite nice to interact with the other fans. I mean, it's all very kind of positive, and we're all opposing one another, and there's a bit of Mickey taking here and there, but overall, yeah, there's a great set of it's almost like camaraderie between sets of supporters, and yeah, I have to say, Carlton fans have been absolutely great this season as well. That even in just the Twitter stuff, they've been great to deal with, really. So yeah, great set of supporters.
Good stuff. So that's the best. Who are the worst?
Starbridge Town.
Has to be Starbridge, isn't it? Everything's
got to be Starbridge. Yeah, Starbridge. No, they do. I mean, Starbridge have had a good few seasons. Particularly when those through that period of time that Halesowen was struggling. Starbridge were growing. They had a great cup run. But now basically, I mean, the deal is we've got a rivalry with them. It's huge non-league rivalry. When we play them, there's that you can attract well over 2,000 fans. I mean, it just grows and grows, this derby every year. But yeah, I haven't enjoyed going there quite so much in the last few seasons. And it might be the fact that it's a derby, and there's this Halesowen Starbridge thing, but no, it hasn't been much fun going there. I don't know if it's like that, when Halesowen aren't in town. But yeah, not my favourite place to go. But again, I probably would say that because I'm a Halesowen supporter. But yeah, but no, I can't think of many other teams where it's not been a particularly pleasant atmosphere. Really, I think most non-league clubs you can go to, and yeah, it's all positive. You can kind of, chat to the home fans if you're the away team. No, I think it's 9 times out of 10 it's always a good thing, and the Halesowen fans are always kind of follow the team in the right spirits as well. We've had a few minor issues this year, given the fact that we're doing well. We're taking coach loads of people to these games, so we've had a few kind of issues that we've had to do a bit of self-policing on. But aside from that, yeah, we're an absolutely brilliant bunch of supporters, and so yeah, we chat to we'll always have a bit of fun with the home supporters, get to know them. Yeah, just great to visit these sorts of clubs, and yeah, like I said, not really that many where I would say we've had a bad experience.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. I mean, at the Stourbridge, have they got a fan base? Do they sing like Halesowen? Just because I've seen a couple of clips. They don't. No. They. It's funny, really, because I mean, like if I was a Stourbridge fan and listened to me talking at the moment, I'd say, well, they're still at a higher level than we are. With their step 3, so yeah, we got relegated down. We're step 4. We've been step 4 for 3 seasons now. Whether although that's been largely out of our control. So yeah, they might point the finger and say, well, yeah, come back and join us at step 3, and then we'll get the derby back on. But yeah, their tendencies have been dwindling a bit. They haven't had a good few seasons. The day that we played Chasetown, they got 500 and something down there. So yeah, really kind of low attendance for their standard. And it might be linked to the fact that Halesowen are doing well, and we had a big game that day. There might be fans that sort of sit in the middle and probably aren't a bit sort of agnostic when it comes to who they support. Just go and watch whichever game looks the best on paper. So yeah, we've probably pinched a few fans off them, if I'm being quite honest. Yeah, but no, I think given strange, because obviously, like I said, we're in the lower level, but it feels like we've kind of got the momentum going, our club's building, we've got things going right, and Stourbridge have just struggled a little bit really, and have kind of lost their way a little bit. So they're sort of mid-table, step 3, but for the last 10 seasons they've been up the top of that level and have been fighting for promotion. They've just never quite got there. I do, yeah. Before I just ask you a couple of questions about Tottenham, because I've got to. One last question with Halesowen.
Yeah.
You can pick one ground anywhere in the world that you'd love to go away with Halesowen to. What would it be? One.
If I said like the Bernabeu or something like that, then that'd be pretty impressive for Halesowen to get there. I don't know, actually. I mean, like I said, I've watched them in so many different places. Yeah, I don't know really. I mean, sometimes it's just nice to have a nice day out. I tell you what, I have to say, I really, really love this place. But Whitby is a particularly nice. Are you surprised that I've said that?
All the grounds you could have picked.
All the grounds I could have picked. Well, I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's. I mean, Halesowen are probably going to be non-league. I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe one day we'll get to the football league of paradise. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I tell you a ground that I don't think Halesowen have ever played at, but Broadhurst Park of FC United.
Now you're talking.
I have been there. Yeah, I've been there, and that is an absolute corking ground. Now we played FC United, but I think they were at Curzon Ashton at the time. Okay. So we didn't get to see that new ground. I think we're probably like a season too late or whatever. But that is an absolute great ground for non-league, and a great club as well. I know they've kind of wobbled a bit, but yeah, I just love that story and a kind of great football ground that they've managed to create for themselves there. Brilliant. So yeah, there you go.
I'm not ashamed to say, as a Liverpool fan, what a club they are. I've got nothing but respect for them. They're fantastic. I know they're related to the scum, obviously, but still, I cannot hate them. And again, Halesowen going to that ground, what an atmosphere that would be.
I know. Yeah, I'd love to go there with Halesowen. It might happen. You never know. given where we're both at as a club at the moment. But yeah, just a superb away ground, superb.
I mean, I was personally hoping you'd say Arsenal. We also haven't got being the Tottenham background, but
Yeah.
what about Tottenham then? How's it been supporting Tottenham?
Well, to be honest, I haven't supported them for about 20 odd years. I used to be an absolute massive Tottenham fan. I used to have Teddy Sheringham. He was my hero.
Wow.
I went to watch him like probably mid-90s, one of the first games I watched, and Jurgen Klinsmann was in the team at that point in time. So it was, Sheringham and Klinsmann was quite an outstanding strike partnership at that time for Tottenham. But now my time as a Tottenham fan is slightly limited. I bet there's, people don't realise that I ever used to support Tottenham, to be quite honest. But yeah, good to see him doing well again. I mean, like I said, they were an incredibly good side in the early 90s, but they've had quite a few years in the wilderness, haven't they? Really, and they haven't really picked up many trophies lately. But great ground. I mean, ground looks amazing. I've not been, but great ground, and they've got some quality players as well now. Top team.
Yeah, me and my brother, we did the tour and skywalk last year.
Oh, really?
Absolutely incredible. We saw the NFL there as well. There was an NFL, but it's absolutely one of the best grounds in the world. 100%.
I've heard amazing things about that ground.
Unbelievable
it's absolutely
ground.
incredible. Yeah,
that's all I can say. Right, we'll finish on the question that we ask everybody. Could you sum up, if you could sum up football or Halesowen, whichever you prefer, in 3 words, what would it be? So it could be 3 separate words or a 3-word phrase. What would you give it?
Entertainment being one, I think. Entertainment. Community is really important. The part what Halesowen does for the local town and the community is huge, and people don't always fully appreciate that. You don't always see that in a non-league club, but just so important for the town and the people. And I don't know. Pride, I suppose. I'm absolutely dead proud of my football club. I absolutely love being a non-league fan. Love Halesowen Town to bits. I think we're so proud of being, one of the supporters. Really, I'm nothing more than a supporter at Halesowen, but I absolutely love it. And so like I said, non-league is so important nowadays. It's growing. It's great to see the crowds. It's expanding, and it's partly because people come and they just love it. They love it. And I know it wasn't a great game that when the Chase Town game, but I've said, like, if you took 10 people off the street, put them through that turnstile and say, go and watch that game of football and go and stand in the shed end and have a beer and whatever, and tell me what you think. At least nine would come out and say, I'm coming back. That was amazing. Yeah. And that's basically the being reflective a little bit. That's kind of why I do the Twitter account for Halesowen. It's like to try and get people there. Like, go. I know that people, if I can encourage people, like, there's a game on this Saturday, it's going to be big. Try and get down there. If I can get people through the turnstile just once, I think that's everything else will just work out, because the feel of the club, the culture, the community, the atmosphere, it all just does itself. It's as a product, it's perfect. It works, and so that's kind of why I do what I do. I just think, well, actually, I know it's a bit of a silly Twitter account, but if I can just get a few more people through the gate and the turnstile and just go, just come and support the club. The club needs you desperately, and if it grows and grows and grows, then that's a virtuous circle. It's good for everyone. So, that's a very long-winded 3 words, isn't it? But yeah, that's
entertainment, community, pride. It's one that we've not had, so we'll absolutely add that to the ever-growing list of.
There you go.
Sum it up in 3 words, but thank you very much for your time tonight, Tim. It's been a pleasure to meet you and speak to you, and I hope that we both bump into each other on our travels very soon.
Let's hope so. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, great to chat. And like I said, if people are ever fancying a ground to come and watch football at, definitely recommend the Grove. Absolutely fantastic ground. And drop me a line. I'm at Yeltz. So that's my Twitter handle on. So if anyone wants to come and hear a bit more about what we do and what it's like to come and watch Halesowen, then yeah, happy to answer any questions. But no, thanks for the time. Absolutely great to chat.
Yeah. This has been the FANA Fan Podcast. We'll see you next time.